Hello and welcome to the Subculture. I'm your host Jared.
And I'm Edwina.
And we're still doing a Once More We're Feeling series on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Today we're doing Season 4, Episode 8, Pangs. This episode first aired November 23rd, 1999, written by Jane Epperson and directed by Michael Lange.
This is a full spoiler podcast. I'm a huge fan, but Jared has never watched the series all the way through, and I'm trying to convince him it's worth his time.
Yes, Eddie, you're always trying to convince me. And this episode, what did you think, Eddie?
We have our Angel crossover episode of the season.
Oh, yes, Angel crossover, yeah.
Yeah, and it's the one and only Thanksgiving episode. Thank God.
Not a fan.
Yeah, I'm not much of a fan of this one, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy this one either, to be honest. I watched it twice and I was still bleh after
it. Yeah, I'll get into why I don't like it. Like, the only redeeming quality of this episode is Spike and Anya. And yeah, Spike, running around, being a pretty, a sexy, dramatic drama queen with he's got the blanket on him and
the blanket of shame.
The blanket of shame on him.
Is that another one of those clothing of something things?
No.
I've seen him wear a couple of times, haven't we? Or
don't think we've seen him in a raggedy blanket.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it's this blanket. It's just full of holes and it's dirty, and I have no idea why he's wearing it because he has a leather jacket on.
Oh yeah.
And he's like looking through windows. Yeah, it's honestly the only redeeming quality of this episode is Spike.
Yeah.
So, yeah, did you want to get into the?
Oh, really? That was it? Straight into it.
I'll talk a bit more
run
about
through this episode, are we? Not much to say. Okay.
Oh, I do have stuff to say, but yeah.
This isn't a fan favourite, I'm guessing?
Well, some people it is, but I think it's a bit tone deaf. Kind of there's a lot of issues with the whole Native American Indian sort of discussion and what they were trying to do, but they've still leaned into the stereotypes.
Yeah. Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yes, exactly.
All right, let's do the summary and we'll get back to it. Buffy, patrolling, finds a vampire, engages and then slays him while Angel watches from behind some bushes. The college dean Guerrero makes a speech for the groundbreaking ceremony for the new anthropology building, and Xander is one of the construction workers. Xander begins to dig, but the ground suddenly caves out under him and he drops into an old abandoned building, which is soon discovered to be a long-lost mission buried underground in an earthquake centuries ago. Buffy decides to cook her own Thanksgiving dinner and invites all her friends. Anya arrives at Xander's house to find him incredibly sick and right away starts taking care of him. A green haze comes up from the old mission and goes into the cultural centre where some weapons are being kept. After the haze comes in contact with a knife, it turns into a large Native American man and kills the curator. Buffy and Willow later secretly investigate the murder and wonder why the curator's body is missing an ear. They also discover that a Shumash knife is missing. After Giles agrees to look up information on the Shumash people and Buffy leaves, Angel appears from Giles' back room, having come to Sunnydale because his friend had a vision of Buffy in danger. Willow goes to get a coffee and runs into Angel. He tells her he's just looking out for Buffy because she might be in trouble. Buffy attempts to find a reverend in a church for information on the Shumash people, but finds him having been hanged by the Native American man, Hus, who attacks her before fleeing. When Willow researches the Shumash, she discovers that they were imprisoned into slavery and forced labour for various supposed misdeeds, and that they attacked their accusers by severing their ears in retaliation. Buffy is realising that Hus is recreating the wrongs done by his people in vengeance. After overhearing the conversation from the bushes, Hus returns to the mission where he resurrects his warriors. Covered in a blanket in a terrible shape, Spike runs through the woods trying to escape Riley and his initiative team as they look for him. Starving, Spike tries to get food from Harmony, but she threatens him with a stake and he leaves. With only a blanket to protect him from the sun, Spike shows up at Giles' place asking for help. Buffy is reluctant to give in, but after he offers inside information on the initiative and Willow helps him explain that he cannot bite anyone anymore, she allows him in. Giles conjures that Huss is seeking up figures of authority as his targets, and Buffy worries that Guerrero could be next. When Willows feel bad about how their people treated the Chumash and refuses to cast a spell to kill their spirits, Spike calls the gang out on their apologetic behaviour towards them. He especially points out that Huss would not accept any apologies for rightfully killing his people as a conquering nation, and that Buffy must preserve and kill him in order to survive. Willow, Xander and Anya leave to warn Guerrero as Buffy and Giles prep for dinner. The spirits attack Buffy, Giles and Spike with arrows. Helplessly tied to a chair, all Spike can do is try to move out of the way as he gets hit with arrows. Willow, Xander and Anya encounter Angel on their way back, and they determine that the Chumash went after Buffy, realizing she must be a figure of authority. Angel shows up and helps them out. Buffy cuts Huss with his own knife and reaches a conclusion that his own weapons can kill him and his warriors. Huss turns into a large black bear, causing Spike to panic and knock over his chair.
Bear, you made a bear.
Buffy struggles with Huss and stabs him, causing the spirits to disappear. Angel walks away without being seen by Buffy, and the gang sits down to Thanksgiving dinner, with Spike joining them whilst still tied up. Xander accidentally lets slip that Angel was in town. The end.
So, just a few things before we get into this.
All right, yeah.
As we're recording this, it's actually the 25th anniversary of the first airing of Welcome to the
today
Hellmouth.
it is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
There you go. 25 years, huh?
Yeah, 25 years of Buffy.
Wow. Since it started.
So, yes. Oh, since it first aired.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, congratulations, Buffy.
Yes, congratulations.
On your anniversary.
Another round of applause for Buffy. Yay.
And some other news, we now have merchandise.
Merch. Oh, okay.
Merch. Yeah. So we now have an online shop.
Yes. What can you buy there, Reddy?
We put the picture's name on everything. Merchandising.
You can buy T-shirts and lots of other things.
T-shirts. Nice. Can you get coffee mugs? I like coffee mugs.
Yes, you can get coffee mugs.
All right. I need to get one.
Yes.
We're running out of coffee mugs.
Yes, we'll get some Nerd Subculture coffee mugs.
That'd be great.
Yes.
Our first purchase by ourselves.
Yeah. So if you feel like helping out the podcast, buy some merch.
Yes, support us if you can. Anyway, that's so.
I think I did also set up the Patreon as well.
Oh, we got Patreon now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but there's no content on it.
Oh,
I don't know how we're going to find time to put content on that. So.
Oh, okay. No, we'll sort that out.
So yeah.
All right.
And
so you can stop sending me money through the mail now.
Yes.
In envelopes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it'll probably get washed away in the floods anyway.
If it gets here. It's halfway down the street already.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so now that I've got that out of the way.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Let's talk about the episode. The whole thing is that I don't really want to talk about this episode.
No?
I don't know.
All right.
Stop.
Well, enjoy. I hope you like this episode.
All right. So I don't really want to talk about this episode, but I will talk about this episode. It's not because I hate the episode.
Mm-hmm.
But
you do.
No, it's just very tone deaf, which I will talk about. But it's also, but first I'll start off by talking about Angel in this episode.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a crossover with another episode, which is actually actually quite a good episode of Angel. It's much better than this episode.
Okay. It seems Buffy's always in trouble, so it didn't seem like she was in greater trouble this time around for him to come in and save her.
Yeah, but it was the fact that she didn't really know. She didn't want to kill this spirit. That was the problem.
Yeah, but...
And then the spirit was kind of gaslighting her as well. Like, you're going to kill my spirit's people. And... yeah, in the bad stereotypical Indian accent, or sorry, Native American accent, like what they kept doing. Yeah. And Angel has pretty flimsy reason for not actually talking to Buffy.
Now, I wanted to bring this up too, all right? I'm glad you did, because it just made no sense, him not telling her or him not coming out and saying, hey, you know, someone had a vision that you're going to die or something to get her to listen. I mean, it's pretty dire. It's not like he's just in town to look after someone's dog that, you know, you could say, oh, don't tell her I'm in town because, you know, it might be a bit awkward. But this is a pretty
maybe
important
she wouldn't
reason.
have hesitated on, like, you know, killing this spirit.
Exactly, yeah.
If she had have known how much danger she was actually in.
Exactly right. That's why I think it's a dumb idea to say, I'm in town, but don't tell her that she's in danger.
Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't you tell someone they're in danger?
You actually just put her in danger doing that.
Yeah, exactly. You're fulfilling the prophecy
Yes.
by not coming to her out to her and saying, hey, I think she can handle it, seeing you.
Yeah.
All right, that's a little gaslighty, isn't it? Isn't it? Maybe saying, she can't handle seeing him, but he can see her.
Not really. I think it's him just. He still hasn't quite dealt with his feelings for her, I'd say, is the issue.
Yeah.
It's probably hard when you see an ex and they're moving on with their life, and yeah, I don't know. It's very flimsy.
Yeah, it's a bit stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I will talk about Willow now.
Mm-hmm.
As she
the
is,
apologist.
She is absolutely insufferable in this episode.
Yeah.
And I will just put it down to her being in a bad headspace due to Oz leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And she seems fine with this spirit just going around killing people.
Yeah, because those people had absolutely nothing to do with what happened to his culture.
and you know, going around killing people out of vengeance, which might be a little bit of foreshadowing for what happens in later seasons with her. She becomes quite big on the vengeance.
And of all the people that this spirit was killing, they were actually preserving their culture in some way.
Yeah.
So it's the wrong people to kill. I mean, these people are actually showing some sort of honor and respect for their people.
Yeah.
And you're going to kill them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But as Xander said, it was like we woke you up and you're just going to kill the first person that you see.
Yeah.
Take your vengeance out on, an innocent bystander when they actually haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, Willow getting upset and offended on behalf of another culture, that being a social justice warrior.
Yeah.
Which, everyone's a keyboard warrior these days, and
yeah, and I think it's a thing that that movie Get Out touched on. The what was it? The what do they call it? Liberal racists, or the like when he says to the character, "Oh, if I could vote for Obama twice, I would have."
Yeah.
But again, it just comes off as patronising.
Yes.
That I get you. I understand you.
Yeah.
Which is almost just it's not as bad as someone being racist to you directly, but they mean well, but it's not really helping.
Yeah. Which brings me to my next point is Willow and Giles's argument that they're having. So the show did try to have a complex conversation about a subject that most shows would stay clear of at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the metaphor here doesn't work, and you can't connect the villain because you only see him kill and you have no other character development at all, like other than Willow and Buffy being sympathetic towards what had happened to his people. Like there's no you don't, Thanos, for example, though he was, this big evil character, you saw where he was coming from on his point of view of wiping out half the universe. There's a limited amount of resources. That was his reasoning behind it. That was his philosophy. But you couldn't really, you couldn't see any of that from this character. And he just kept turning into these stereotypes, like he was a coyote in one thing. He was a bear. He turned into some crows.
Yeah. It's also sort of touches on that thing where people to minority communities and sort of anoint them to be these grandiose people. But even though at the end of the day they're just people,
Yeah.
that just because someone is an immigrant or someone, is of a certain color or something like that, that you would assume that they're all great, loving people. But at the end of the day, they're just people.
Yeah.
And it's also, kind of going backwards a little bit in a way where you're trying to, like saying immigrants are all beautiful, people who need something. But yeah, that's true. But they are just people as well.
Yeah.
So to sort of have them anointed onto some sort of scope as being these benevolent people, but they're not really. They're just people.
Yeah.
So, and the same with, any culture or any human or any person for that matter. And sort of leading into that, so that it's talking about colonialism. So can we touch on that? Because this is something...
And this is the other thing, is that I'm like, this is the sort of stuff that I'll get cancelled. We get cancelled for this sort of stuff.
You don't want to talk about this stuff.
We're not woke enough. It's out of my comfort zone to even talk about this sort of subject, because I really don't know anything about it.
No.
But there's also that thing. There's nothing I can do about what happened. It is that thing. I am very sorry for it happening, but it happened.
Yeah, but this is something that comes up in Australian politics as well.
Yeah.
Like with Australia Day, there's always a thing, or we should call it Invasion Day. And it's like, well, look, that's not really what happened. It wasn't a military force that took over the country. It's kind of oversimplifying a complex issue. And people just want to stand out with banners and want things to change. But there's really nothing to offer. There's really nothing to do at the end of the day. Like we can stand around and argue and have a screaming match, but then nothing's really resolved and we're back to where we were before. So, and it's just saying, it's just something that comes up in our, with what happened with the Aborigines, and what they went through. And we just end up going around in circles, I find, and nothing gets resolved and everyone's just shitty at each other. I'm like, okay, all right.
And now our kids have to do what's that pledge that they do? They do like this little pledge in the morning. Acknowledging the lands of the Aboriginal.
Okay,
the Wurundjeri. They acknowledge the Wurundjeri people. And it's on TV. It's, it's this, excessive wokeness, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's like every sporting event now has to have the welcoming ceremony, which is something they just kind of invented recently because they wanted to have something. I think it was something that the Maori people used to have.
Yeah.
And Australia's like, hey, we need something like that. So let's get some Aboriginal people to dance around it and we can do the same thing and make it look like we sympathise or something, And it's like, okay, all right, cool, we'll do that, Yeah. Yeah. And even talking about it now, I'm like,
well, again,
can I say that? Can I say that?
The amount, but again, a lot of this comes from, a lot of that stuff is just people being upset on behalf of...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and now we're getting to the apologists where people are like going around apologising for this stuff to people, but it's like, okay, it's sorry that happened, but I didn't do it, and we need to sort of move on at some stage. You have to move on,
forget.
No, I didn't say forget. I said move on. And now there is something I when living overseas, and I heard people talk about their country being invaded and being raped and pillaged by invaders and conquered and all this other stuff and having their resources taken. And I heard this coming from white people in England. And these people were sort of associated with the British National Party. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They're kind of seen as these right-wing nutters.
Mm.
And they say the same arguments that I hear from some of the original communities, or not communities, but from speakers as well. And it kind of makes me wonder, like one side of the planet, I hear people say that and they're laughed at, basically. You're idiots. You're talking about the French conquering you. You're talking about the Romans conquering you. You're talking about that. And then with this, it's like, okay, it was a couple of 100 years ago, but in England, they're just seen as absolute fuckheads, and they are, basically. But, anyway, it's just, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I support and oppose a lot of things, and nothing strong enough to pick up a pen.
That is true. Well, and only recently they made, there was all the issues revolving around the Aboriginal flag because it had a copyright on it.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I won't really go into it, but I might make flags.
Yeah.
I might work for a company that makes flags, but there was a copyright on.
Yeah, and the Australian government bought it for $20 million, I think.
Yeah, so now anyone can print it, but at one stage only one company could print it, and the company I worked for would have to buy from this other flag company in order to sell it. And it also meant that it was always far more expensive than all the other flags. It would be almost double the price of other flags.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, people like to flail them around at rallies. So
yeah, it seems at any protest you have to have an Aboriginal flag, even if it's really nothing to do with Aboriginal people or anything.
The only real difference with it is that they have a black header on it. That's it. Like it's just meant to be done with a black header. It's one of the only flags that has to have a black header.
Okay, I don't know what that is.
It's just how you hang it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. It's like a piece of material that you put rope in. And anyway, doesn't matter.
All right, okay. All right. How about we move on from that? All right. I'm glad we solved that argument once and for all to never come up again.
Yes. But now the copyright has been removed.
Yeah.
Because it did come up when the AFL wanted to use the flag recently, and they wouldn't let them use it or something.
Oh God, I'm sure they've used it before.
No, I think it was they wanted the design on the uniform.
They've had that before.
Have they?
Yeah.
I know they do the design, like the actual artworks, the fabric artwork designs on them. But I don't think they've actually had the Aboriginal.
What about the Torres Strait Islander flag? Was that copyrighted too?
No.
No. Okay.
No, because I've made that many, many times.
Yeah.
Yes. No, the Torres Strait Islander one wasn't.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah. Okay, so I will go into why. Did you notice Buffy was wearing
a black cowboy hat?
A black cowboy.
I have that written down here. Has she ever worn that hat before?
No.
I thought that was weird, her wearing a cowboy hat at the start.
Yeah, it was so that you could get your cowboys and Indians motif on. And
yeah, a bit of foreshadowing, yeah.
Yeah. And, you know.
Yeehaw.
Yeah. And feeding, the episode kind of goes into feeding the myth of Native Americans and their culture has been completely wiped out.
So what's pangs?
Oh, yeah. So pangs is like a sudden sharp pain or emotion.
Okay.
Yeah.
What, of grief or something, or?
It can be grief. It can be.
Is it associated with grief? Like, would you use it in a sentence?
Sometimes. I felt a sudden pang of hunger, or.
Okay. All right.
I felt a sudden pang of emotions, a pang of sadness.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone use that in a sentence before.
It's normally, I'd say it's normally used for hunger pains.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Lots of pangs.
Yeah. Hunger pangs.
Not growing pangs?
Yeah, not growing pangs, hunger pangs. They're sort of sudden and sharp. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
Now, did you go on a rabbit hole with it? Go on a rabbit hole? No. Did you go down into a rabbit hole on this?
Down into a rabbit hole. The actor who played Huss or Huss? Huss.
I don't know.
I think it's Huss. Todd Thorley.
Yeah.
Played Nightwolf in Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was a Mortal Kombat animation series called Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm. I'd never seen this before. I've seen a lot of Mortal Kombat animations. I don't remember seeing this one. It was it came out in 95, went for about 13 or so episodes. Had an all-star cast. I just listened to these names. So I just told you we had Todd Thorney as Nightwolf, who, if you're not familiar with Mortal Kombat, is a Native American character. Nightwolf, yeah.
I think you can tell from just the name.
Nightwolf. Clancy Brown as Raiden.
Ooh.
Yeah. Luke Perry as Sub-Zero. Coming back to Buffy again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are just voices.
Voices, yes.
Yep.
This is an animation. Guess who was Liu Kang? Brian Tocci.
Who's that?
Nagata from Police Academy.
Oh.
If you just heard our previous episode, we spoke about Brian playing Asian characters. Played Liu Kang. Lots of wah in that. And Ron Perlman as Stryker.
Oh.
So, all-star cast.
Wow. That is an
For a
all-star
shitty
cast.
fucking animation show that I never heard of. Although I think Ron Perlman did a lot of animation voices, but I don't think he was really known.
What was it called again?
Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm.
This is sounding familiar because I think I might have seen this on like Fox. Remember Fox Kids?
Fox Kids, yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember like flipping channels at your old place.
Oh, okay.
At your parents' house and hitting Fox Kids and there being like this Mortal Kombat
Watching
cartoon.
in your 20s.
Yeah.
It's
It's okay to watch cartoons when you're in your 20s, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Remember, cartoons aren't just for kids anymore, Jared.
No, they're not.
But I'm pretty sure that one was just for kids.
Yeah, it's pretty average, to be honest. Nothing too cool about that. There were some awful ones, though, mate. I remember I had one on VHS tape, and it was just, I know, been through the wash or something, and it was just, awful.
Yeah.
Never given up on those Mortal Kombat animations, do they? So, so many Mortal Kombat shows being made.
Yeah. And Jared, had you seen this episode?
No, I hadn't seen this episode. Completely new to me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Did we want to go into question time?
Yeah, let's do question time.
Answer the question.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay. Jared, which character was your favourite in this episode?
I liked Spike.
Yeah, I had Spike.
Yeah. Are we going to all have the same answers on this one, or?
Maybe. Which character
Willow.
did you love?
Love to hate Willow.
Yeah, I have. Willow is just a touch insufferable
Yeah.
with her holier-than-now
Absolutely, yeah.
stance on issues. Because then she's also a bit of a hypocrite in this as well, because then she just goes from, I'm not going to help you kill this guy.
Beating with a shovel?
Yeah, to beating him with a shovel.
Was that sort of meant to be played for laughs on that
I
scene?
don't think so.
But it kind of was.
It was kind of funny though.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
clobbering with a shovel. Yeah.
All right. Okay, what was the most memorable fight scene?
So that when Buffy went toe to toe with Huss
Yep.
towards the end, it was pretty intense fight scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit stabby, a bit,
Yeah. I've got the fight scene with the bear. Which just starts fighting the bear.
Was that a real bear?
I think it is.
I think some shots they do use a real bear, and some shots, I think when Buffy's with it, it's a guy in a suit.
It's obviously a guy in a suit because there's times when you just see it, or it's just a guy with an bear arm.
Yeah.
He's bearing arms.
The right to bear arms.
Yeah, he had bear arms on.
Oh, that just brings up a whole other topic on that, hey? We'll just stay away the right to bear arms, all right?
Yes.
But yeah, was it? I looked that up, and I couldn't find anything about that. But I reckon
No, because I can't remember where I read it, but a guy was talking about how he went to some sanctuary and he met the bear that was in Buffy.
I'm just going to go on a whim here. That wasn't Doc Antle guy, was it?
No,
From
no.
Tiger King.
No, it was the bear was somewhere up in Canada.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. I think it was in the comment section of like a
Right, okay.
yeah.
I'm just wondering how they shot that, because it looks like there was an actual bear in the room. Though I don't think black bears are that big, though.
I think they are. They're pretty
they?
big.
Big enough.
They're big enough. Next question. LOL moment.
So I thought Spike getting hit repeatedly by the arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and also a bear.
Yeah, mine would have to be Spike being the sexy little drama queen with his torn, dirty blanket, and he's looking in the window and he's like so sad and he's crying, and you know he's watching another vampire family and they're all eating together, and this poor guy, this guy that they're eating together, and he's so jealous.
Is that playing
so
like
upset.
one of those Thanksgiving movies where like
Yes.
the orphan kid's outside and he's like
it's playing on all those like it happens a lot in those Christmas movies. Like there's someone will always be standing on the outside watching people like sitting around a Christmas tree.
Eating a nice and big meal and like a family, and they're like eating this guy.
Or they're giving each other presents and they're smiling and they're happy. And
I didn't make that connection to you, man. Until you said that. Then that's hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention there's also like lots of like the dramatic music is also swelling in that scene as well. All right. Favorite scene.
Now, my favorite scene, and when I rewatched it before, it was that final shot at the end when Xander let slip that. Oh, it was good that Angel turned up too, and everyone at the table just sits there and just looks over at Buffy.
Yeah.
But like the point of view, like everyone
It's
just
from
turns,
the camera.
turns and looks at her, and like everyone's just oh shit, and there's a nice huge grin on Spike when he looks over. So that final shot, just everyone just looking over that, it just sort of ends like that.
You know what?
What?
That's what I got too.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on, don't bullshit me.
That's amazing. I don't believe that.
Okay. Least favorite scene.
I guess there was a scene with Buffy and Willow in the dorm just talking about not something. I don't know. It was a bit boring. Didn't like that one. Go with that?
Yeah, I'll just go any of the scenes with Riley.
I was going to say Riley.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you were going to say that.
Yeah. I think when they're in the forest and they've got like you never see them wear it again. They've got the war paint on.
Is that foreshadowing?
Well, do you know how hard that shit is to get off your face?
Yeah, I know. It's on your pillow for days, that stuff.
Like, yeah, that stuff's not easy to get off.
It's like zinc, you know. It's like you ever put zinc on your face, and that's like on there for days.
Yeah, it's designed to stay on your face for days. Like you don't just wear it around like that.
And they went full zinc face, didn't they?
Well, it was weird. No, it was just on their face though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they went. Yeah, the whole face was just completely covered.
Yeah, but normally they wear.
It was a black guy who covered his face too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, normally they Normally they're wearing the balaclavas.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be easier?
Well, yeah.
Is it less conspicuous or more conspicuous?
Well, have they just done that so that we know that it's them? But we already know that they're the three initiative.
Yeah, that was a bit weird. The whole camo face. Now, the more I think about it,
considering they both have to hop on planes to go see their families.
Well, considering they got to go to class the next day, actually no, they're on Thanksgiving, but still, they're at the school and stuff though, so they weren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. No, that was a mistake.
Yeah. Favorite quote.
My favorite quotes with Buffy correcting Giles. We don't say Indian. And Giles replies, "Oh no, right, yes. I'm always behind on the terms. Still trying not to refer to you as bloody colonials."
Yeah. I've got two. The first one is Giles. Well, that's good, but this is why I think we should keep a level head in this. And Willow's respond is, and I happen to think mine is the level head and yours is the one that things roll off of. So I've got that one. And then I've got Spike's little monologue, which I'll read out.
Okay.
So it's Spike is, I just can't take all this namby-pamby boo-hooing about the bloody Indians. And Willow responds with, the preferred term is, and before she can finish, Spike is like, you won, all right. You came in and you killed them and you took their land. That's what conquering nations do. That's what Caesar did. And he's not going around saying, I came, I conquered, I felt really bad about it. The history of the world is not people making friends. You had better weapons and you massacred them. End of story.
Just do it.
Yeah.
And he has a point. And it was exactly what Giles was trying to say as well.
Yeah, which he sort of muttered to himself. Exactly what I just said before, but no one listened.
Yes. Who gets the wooden spoon
Willow.
in this episode? Yeah, I got Willow.
Yeah.
Who's the MVP of this episode?
I found it a bit hard. I kind of thought Angel. Yeah, I wasn't too convinced on that. I wasn't really, but yeah, Buffy, I guess. Buffy's always a safe bet, isn't she? Yeah. Who'd you go?
This is going to be a controversial one.
Oh no.
I went Spike because he's the only thing that makes this episode bearable. Get it? Bearable.
Oh no.
Bearable. Because he's all like, a bear. You made a bear.
There's a bear in there.
Yeah. And the bear, and the weird thing is the bear part, it's so silly. I don't know.
Yeah, it's about that point where it just gets a little ridiculous, doesn't it?
It's so silly, that bit.
Yeah.
Like when you look at it, it's, I'm sitting there going, it's ridiculous. Out of all the things that I've seen in Buffy, that's the one thing. A bear is the one thing that I'm going to go, that's ridiculous.
But it's one of those episodes that the more you think about it, the more ridiculous it seems, even though why did the spirits come alive in the first place?
Yeah, as I said, it was. I've read a lot of comments about this episode before doing this, and it's the fact that the episode does slightly feed into the myth of the Native American being completely wiped out and their culture being completely wiped out.
Well, I was actually reading a bit about the Shamash people, and they probably would have been in Sunnydale.
Oh, really?
They are sort of based around that Californian area, so that is all probability they were the local Indian tribes around there. At estimates, they probably reckon there was about 20,000 of them at the time the Spanish or the Americans came around, maybe down to about 5,000 now, so there's not too many of them. The last native-speaking Shamash person died in the 60s, I think.
Yeah.
So it is a culture that's struggling, as it's just one of those things, and the thing is, you can't, as we as humans, we don't tend to sort of stay in our breeds, if we can say that. We tend to mix and dilute ourselves pretty quickly naturally. So it's like after a few hundred years, there'll probably be a lot less of them around in some ways, because we don't just stay on our tribes, much as what people would say, it just doesn't happen,
Yeah.
So, which is unfortunate, I guess, but again, it's just one of those things, it's not really anything you can do about it, and yeah, they've got some little missions and stuff like that they have, culture centers and stuff.
You can have casinos now.
Did she say that?
Yeah, she said that. Yeah.
Wasn't that really bad for them? Are they still happening, or?
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it just sort of turned them into mobsters in some way. They just got really filthy rich very quickly and very selective few. I don't know what sort of happened, but I remember for a while, a lot of TV shows kept showing these Indian reservation casinos. I think they just started popping up all at once. There was TV shows like The Simpsons, A Family Guy, Malcolm in the Middle, all did an episode where they went to a Indian reserve casino. And I'd never seen them before, so whether they're all just in the early 90s, they all started popping up or something like that in the mid-90s.
I don't know.
So,
unfortunately, this area I know very little
we
about.
know nothing.
We
don't take our word for it. We're just here for entertainment. We're not staying away. We're staying away from politics.
We know absolutely nothing about it. We don't even know much about our own political situation at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, what do you rate this episode out of 10?
So I was almost going to say, for Hi Hawaiians.
Oh, no, you didn't. No, you did not. You did not.
I did not do it. No, all 4 severed ears.
Okay, that's better. Okay, I went 4 flying arrows.
I was going to say that too, but I went something gruesome, as I always do.
But you scolded me the first time, like when I started doing gruesome ones. You were like, "Oh, that's gruesome."
Did I?
And now all you do is gruesome ones.
Oh, okay.
Because you're like, you did that gruesome one time. So.
Well, yeah, it's fun to be me.
All right.
All right. So, anything you wanted to add? So,
Not really.
I just saw the merch. So, yeah, check it out. How much does one of those mugs go for, Eddie?
I don't know.
$50.
What?
I don't know. Well, it depends. It'll the website I'm using will change its pricing to whatever area it is in.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but yeah, you can follow the links from our socials to the merchandise shop
Yes, you can.
in the link tree.
So what do you do, Eddie? Push the button.
Yep.
I'm pushing the button.
All right, push the button.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed listening to us tonight. We are Nerd Subculture. My name is Jared.
And I'm Edwina.
And if you like what you hear and you want to say hello, where can you find us, Eddie?
Oh, you can find us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and there is a Facebook group, and you can email us at nerdsubculture@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And follow the links in our socials to our merchandise and
Merchandising, yes.
merchandise
We're
and
just plugging it.
Patreon.
We're
Yeah.
just plugging ourselves tonight. Well, look.
Well, we need something to help pay for the podcast.
Yeah, need to pay our bills. So I need a new Ferrari. So my other one's 2 years old now. So yeah, make sure you like, share, subscribe. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Merchandising, merchandising.